Yo, what's up guys? So today we're doing the thermostat in the D21. So yeah, let's get started. All right guys, so what we're gonna need for this, you're gonna need a thermostat, a funnel, a nice sized catch pan. I got 2 things of coolant, 50/50. So yeah, and you're gonna need a 12, a 14, and I believe a 10 millimeter socket. All right guys, so the first thing we're gonna do is get our belts off. So I'm going to loosen this up here on the pulley, and then we're going to loosen it up on the other side. Let's see. Okay. It's loose. I'm just going to loosen this up. There we go. Okay, we got that belt off. Now we gotta get our other belt off. Not coming through the fan strap. Okay, we got one belt off. All right, guys, so we're getting the other belt loose here. Tension off this belt. I'm gonna loosen it up and then go from the bottom, loosen up the alternator so I could get this belt off right here. Okay, so now that this is loose, I'm gonna go get that bolt out and then pull the belt out from the bottom. So once you get your second belt off from the bottom, you're going to get these 2 bolts on the power steering pump out of the way. So you can move your power steering pump. That's gonna give you access to see the thermostat. On the bottom here, I forgot that there was one on the bottom, so you need to get that bolt out too as well. All right guys, so now that you got the power steering pump out of the way with the 3 bolts, you're going to remove this bracket here, and this is going to give you access to the thermostat. As you can see, we can see it right there. So we just need to move this out the way. All right guys, we got all that off, so now we got access to our thermostat housing. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to drain our coolant, get all the coolant out the system, and then we're gonna start taking off these bolts here. All right guys, so to drain your coolant out your radiator, you're gonna look towards the bottom here. There's a screw down there. You're just gonna untwist that screw and it's gonna start dumping out coolant. So let me see if I can get it unscrewed. You'll be able to see. Okay. Let me see where my drain bucket's at. It looks like it's in a good spot. And once you open this, you're gonna wanna open your radiator cap so it can just allow more to flow out because it's pressurized. All right, once I open the radiator cap, more should just start pouring out. There we go. I didn't even open it all the way, I just loosened it. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, it's making such a mess. I already spilled coolant all over the ground. All right, guys, so we got all of our coolant drained in the truck here. So now we're just gonna take the thermostat housing off, clean it up, switch out the thermostats, put that in. Then after that, we're gonna bolt our radiator and everything back together, so. Okay, this hose is just a 10 here. I'm just loosening it up. Hopefully it doesn't make too much of a mess. All right, guys, I had to adjust my camera and get it out of the way because I kept hitting it. So now we're just gonna get these 3 10mm bolts off. There's one on the bottom, and then there's 2 on the top. Now the one on the bottom's kind of tricky. I remember I was having trouble with this one last time. And these bolts aren't like super tight on there either. Loosen that. Dude, my tool is tightening. What the hell? I was like, what the hell? This shit feels like it's tightening. The tool is on wrong. Alright. The bottom one's kind of hard because you gotta put it in by feel. If you know what I mean. I had to go get a new light. Because the lights that I did have that was lightening up my engine bay, they kept dying. So I got a new light. Oh shoot. Yeah, that's the only thing that makes this tough is that you can't see that bottom bolt. I think you can see it from the bottom, but there is no real way to tell how good it's in. You know, on my last bolt here. I'm gonna get this thing off. Then we'll be able to look at our thermostat. Honestly, the thermostat on this truck is kind of a job, man. It's not like something you just, usually most thermostats on cars is like quick, easy access to get to it. Not on this truck, and it's because the way the layout of the motor is, like everything's like stacked on top of each other. So, all right, did it come off? Why is it not coming off? It's literally like stuck. Damn, did they weld this thing or what? All right, let me get a flathead and see if I could just pry it off. Oh, shit. That was bad. That was fucking bad. It worked, but damn. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. So we just gotta scrape all this off on the housing, then seal it back off, and then get this. Put some fucking gasket on here, gasket maker. All right, guys, so we got our new thermostat, and we're putting it in. And this little gold piece sticking out goes in between these 2 bolts. So that's kind of how you're gonna want to get it in. You're gonna want to just have it sit like right there, that type of area. And then we're gonna get the housing and try to bolt the housing in around it. All right, guys, so upon filming, I realized I made a big mistake. So basically on the thermostat, there's that rubber ring that goes around the thermostat, you don't use that on here. You just get your thermostat flush like that. Take that ring off because you're going to use gasket sealer around your thermostat right there. The thermostat sits in that hole, and then your gasket just makes it flush. That ring is going to create a gap, which is going to make it leak. Able to just slap this new one back on. I got a wire wheel. Clean this off with a wire wheel, and yeah, we're good to go. Then we're gonna just spread it all around with our finger. Pretty much. Just like that. Alright guys, so we got everything back on this time, and hopefully everything dries up and seals before the end of the day, and I can fill this up with coolant, but we'll see. I'm gonna wait probably till like 8:30, 9 p.m. try to fill it up with coolant and see what happens. And you're gonna see dripping. You're gonna see it dripping if you're leaking. So let's check under. Don't see any drips, so I'm gonna continue to pour. Thank you, God. Trust me, it's always a guaranteed blessing when you are not dripping coolant on the ground. I did this job before one time, and as soon as I started pouring coolant after I put everything back together, I just see dripping, and I ended up cracking the thermostat housing. So that was pretty painful. All right, let me check again. Okay, nothing dripping, so I'm gonna keep pouring. This time I'm gonna go for it. All right, guys, so we got everything together. We filled up our truck with coolant. So what we're doing is we're burping our coolant system. So pretty much what you wanna do is squeeze this lower coolant hose until your temperature gets hot, until the thermostat opens up, and basically you just squeeze in this hose here. But before you do this, you want to fill your truck up with coolant, and then there's a hose here. There's a bolt on the intake manifold right here. It's a 10mm bolt. You want to fill up your truck with coolant completely and open this bolt to make sure coolant comes out of this bolt. And then if it does, then you want to top it off. And then you start your truck and you do it this way. You bleed your system. This is all you're doing, is you're squeezing this hose until your system burps. Once it burps, you just fill up the rest of it with coolant, and then you're good to go. So I only have a little bit to fill here. You can see everything starting to flow. And I'm just squeezing this hose. It's getting really warm. And you see a little bit of coolant going down. So I know, yeah, that shit's hot. All right, so I only have a little bit to fill up, so I'm gonna do that. Hey guys, so I just wanted to say I couldn't film bleeding my system fully because I don't have my tripod with me. But another thing I forgot to mention is, so when you bleed your system, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is turn your heater on full blast all the way to 4. Have the heater on full blast, and then you start pouring in your coolant. Pour in your coolant, squeeze that bottom hose until you get all the air bubbles out, and that's it. Just rinse and repeat. Once you feel air bubbles come out, then you put more coolant. So that's pretty much it about bleeding your system. It's really easy to do. I forgot my tripod at the house, so I couldn't film that part. But we got the thermostat in, and we'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully it lasts a while. We don't have to change it. So thank you guys for watching, and have a good day. Peace.